having a good day today. I am going to make a card using some new Hello Bluebird products. I've got the Puddle Play and the Rainy Day stamp sets, and I'm going to use them both in today's card. And I'm kind of focusing my card around more or less a technique, if you will, but I am building the scene with these cute, adorable stamps. And what I'm going to be doing is a little bit of emboss resist with my Distress Oxide inks. I wanted these raindrops, or the rain actually coming down. I want it to be, really prominent on my card. And I knew that this ink was a pigment dye ink hybrid, and I didn't know once I blended out my background if my rain here would disappear. So I decided to take upon the opportunity to take my embossing powder here, since this does have a pigment property to this ink, and emboss my raindrops here. And you have to work quick with, if you've ever tried embossing, or if you haven't tried embossing with this ink, you have to work quick, because since it is a hybrid, it doesn't, for some reason, the embossing powder doesn't stay on there long. You really have to work quick. It doesn't stay as long as Versamark would, because Versamark is a clear sticky ink, and it's formulated to work with embossing powders. This is not really necessarily formulated for that, but you can if you work quickly enough. So I've gone ahead and embossed the rain here with some clear embossing powder, and I have heat set that with my heat tool. Next, I'm going to take some Distress Oxide ink and create more of the background and create a little bit of a stormy sky. I've got 3 Distress ink or Distress Oxide colors that I'm going to be using, and all of them will be listed below. I can't remember exactly which ones I used. I know I used Salty Ocean, and I believe this is the raindrops is what the color I used on this. And then that one that I'm inking up now, I'm inking up the background on panel here, is Broken China. And so usually I hope he brings out, Tim Holtz brings out Tumbled Glass, because it's my favorite for skies and stuff like that. So, but for now I'm using the one that I do have, and this is the Broken China. And later on I'm going to bring in Faded Jeans, because it's a little bit more of a grayish blue color, and it'll create a little bit more of that stormy sky effect that I'm going for. So I'm just, and I don't think I mentioned before what paper I'm using either. I have never actually tried ink blending onto the Bristol Smooth cardstock, and I always use my Zig Clean Rail Brush markers for the Bristol Smooth to do my coloring, but I've never really thought about doing my inking, and I know a lot of crafters in the community like to ink blend on this paper because it's a little bit more forgiving than just regular cardstock, and I can probably agree with them on that. But even though these inks are really forgiving anyway, whenever you ink blend with them, because of that hybrid property that they have in them. So as you can see, I'm taking my darker color now, and I first wanted to start off with a light hand with all of these colors and kind of build up my background, and that's what I did. It took me, I'd say, roughly 25 minutes or so to do my entire background, and so I didn't want to put you all through that pain of seeing the ink blend that entire time. So I kind of sped up the video just a little bit here. Now I'm going to work on the puddle of rain portion, if you will, of the background. So I'm just going to take I believe this is the Salty Ocean color, and I'm going to go ahead and do the bottom of this panel. And it's just really easy to ink blend on this cardstock. I really do enjoy using this for ink blending. I did go ahead and start adding some water droplets to my background just to see how it would do, and so far so good. It's done really well, and to take that water and just blot that up. So now what I'm going to do is just continue on. I'm going to add that little bit of darker color to my background and just build up my scene here, and then add more water droplets to this, and then let that sit just for a few moments and then just take my rag here and just kind of blot that up. And it gives that more of effect of rain and distressed background to this whole entire thing. So I've kind of laid out the stamps that I wanted to use from both stamp sets and kind of lay out my scene and plan it out. Because next what I'm going to do is take the little water puddle images and stamp those directly onto my panel here using my Misty stamping tool. And I should probably have done this the same way that I should have done the rain, but for some reason I didn't think that far ahead on it. I mean, it's not a big deal that I didn't. But, you know, it is what it is. It turned out just fine without it. But it's just more or less of a matchy-matchy thing is why I mentioned that. But it looks just as good with or without it being embossed. But I knew that I was going to be ink blending over the rain portion. So that's why I went ahead and embossed it to begin with. So now I'm just going to finish up doing my stamping with the water puddles and get that exactly where I want it. And now I'm going to move on to coloring my images. And I've got just another scrap piece of the Bristle Smooth once again. And then I'm going to take some Gina K Amalgam black ink and ink up my images. And then I'm going to take since I am using the Bristle Smooth, I'm going to take my Zig markers and color my images in. Because if you've never used these markers onto this Bristle Smooth paper, they blend so well, so easy. But like I mentioned in my last video, this is not technically watercolor paper. So you don't want to add a whole lot of water. If you plan on blending out your colors with water, you don't want to add too much water to this because it will peel up really easily. And that's the only issue that I have with it, because sometimes I tend to have a heavy hand and I want to blend out my colors, you know, more and more. So that means that I need to use more water. And so I have to be conscious enough to not be so heavy-handed. And I think I did fairly well on these images for today's card. But I know in the past, if I keep going over the same area of the image, it starts to peel up. So just keep that in mind if you've never used this paper before and you're interested in doing so. It's just something to keep in mind in the future if you ever try to use this paper and do this very technique. So I'm going to start off. I've got all of the colors that I'm going to be using. And so I've got gray, pink flamingo, wine red, orange, yellow, May green, light blue, and light violet. And I wanted to add some pop of color to my whole entire scene here because a lot of the color palette is really dark and muted, and, you know, with the grays and the blues. So my pops of color obviously are going to be with a little duckling. He's going to be yellow. And I thought it would be fun to add a little bit more pop of color sorry, I hit my mic there, to my umbrellas. So I'm going to do those in kind of like a rainbow theme, if you will, to add just that extra pop of color. So I'm going to continue on to do my coloring here and just kind of just tell you this is a little bit of a longer video. I hope you guys don't mind, but I wanted to keep all of the coloring in as much as possible because I know a lot of you like to see the coloring. And so this video is a little bit longer than I usually like to upload because I know that some just don't have, 20, 30 minutes to watch a video. But hopefully you are able to stick around and watch the whole entire thing. And if you do, I really do appreciate it. But so as I'm recording this voiceover, I have literally got off work. I come home, got off work. Now I'm doing this voiceover because I wanted to get this video up for you guys today. And so I'm hoping that everyone is having a great Monday so far. And you're hoping that you're home and that you're able to relax and, just kind of put your feet up and enjoy the rest of the day wherever you are in the world. I know a lot of my audience is international, so maybe it's probably nighttime for you. I don't know. But I know that I try to upload my videos at a relatively good time for everybody to see. And I don't necessarily have a upload schedule, I guess, if you could tell. But most of my crafting I do on the weekends because obviously I do have a full-time job. And so sometimes it's hard for me to get up my videos the first thing in the mornings like I want to. But that's not really here or there. I just wanted to be able to provide a video for you guys to see what I'm up to, and hopefully you get inspired by all the cards that I make. I did want to ask you guys one question though. What kind of videos are you interested in seeing from me? Is there kind of video ideas that you would like to see that are different that you would like to see on my channel? I'm really trying to put a lot of versatility into my video making and putting some things out onto my channel that y'all are interested in seeing. And so if y'all have ideas, please shoot them my way because I would love to hear your ideas, because some of my videos that I have put up recently are ideas coming from you guys. And so I really do appreciate it. Sometimes, I just get overwhelmed and not sure what to put up next. I don't want to keep putting up the exact same things over and over and over, but I want to put up variety and content that y'all are interested in seeing. So if you have any ideas that you would like to see, I'm always open to hear what you guys have to say, as always, because you are my audience and I want to be able to put up content that you like. So I'm going to continue on with the finishing up my coloring here and just blending out these colors. They're really, really easy to blend out, just so smooth. I just can't get enough of it. And this is how I like to do watercolor. Just no fuss, and don't have to really think about it. And it really does make it that much more enjoyable to create because I'm not having to fuss over it as much as if I were just to do it, like an actual real watercolor. Because one of these days, I want to try my hand at doing some no-line watercoloring. My heart's not in it quite yet. It's kind of a little bit of intimidating, but one of these days, I'm going to branch out and do some no-line on camera for you guys. So I'm going to finish up here the little umbrella, and then I'm going to take the coordinating dies and die cut out my images. And I love how this never gets old. I've been crafting for almost 10 years now. And every time I die cut my images, it just never gets old on how much I love having coordinating dies with my images, because it just takes the fuss out of cutting these, because I'm not the best fussy cutter out there. It just takes me a long time to do it. So having that nice white border and that nice clean edge around these images makes me so happy. So now I'm going to plan out where I want my images to be put onto my card. And the beginning, I wanted to put, I started with the smallest little umbrella there. And at first I thought I wanted it popped up, but then I decided later on that I didn't. I went through back and forth with a lot of, changing my mind in this card. But as I'm stamping out that little, like the little duckling is splashing and jumping up and down in that puddle of water, and it makes it look like the little splash marks are coming up, which I think is so, so cute. So I'm going to put some foam adhesive on the back of this one small umbrella, and hear that. And I didn't like it at first, so I readjusted it. And then later on, still didn't like it. So that's why I took off. You'll see here in a moment that I will take off that foam adhesive. So I'm going to go ahead and place some foam adhesive on the back of all of these images except for the two umbrellas, because I wanted my two characters to be popped up, and then I want the umbrellas to be flat to the card. And I absolutely love this little duckling. He's just so cute. And I just love how whimsical these images are. They're absolutely so precious to work with and so fun to work with. I absolutely have been fallen in love with Hello Bluebird stamps. They're just, I know a few people have told me or have made comments to me lately that a lot of the images that they have seen remind them of some of the images from My Favorite Things, which, you know, I kind of can see that, I guess, but, you know, I really do think that these images they do set themselves apart from other stamp companies. So I don't think that they're so similar to where immediately when you see them, I think that you do see, whenever you see these particular images, you know they're going to be from Hello Bluebird. So, I don't know. Everybody's got their own opinion, I guess. So, I'm going to continue on to put some foam adhesive. I did die cut some clouds off camera because obviously I needed a little bit more something at the top of my card, not just rain. And obviously it ties into the whole entire scene that I am creating here. So I'm going to add some glue to that little smaller cloud and tuck that underneath the one bigger cloud. And then add some more foam adhesive to that last cloud and place that down. And then I'm going to work on my sentiment. Now, I've gotten this far, and I probably should have done this probably closer to the beginning as I was creating. But luckily, the card making gods were on my side, and I didn't mess up my sentiment because I wanted to emboss it and really bring out that white, you know, and kind of tie in with the white with the clouds. So thankfully, everything turned out just fine, and I didn't flub up my card. So I'm going to work on the inside of my card base here with another one of the umbrellas and then the sentiment. I've got the Singing in the Rain sentiment on the outside, which kind of ties in with the scene that I'm creating. And then I'm going to stamp down my other sentiment, and it says, I'm here for you, rain or shine. The card base that I have is Island Blue cardstock from Simon Says Stamp. And the ink that I also used is the same color on the inside of the card, just to give it that tone-on-tone look. And I'm just going to add this straight down onto my card base with some liquid glue. And then I'm going to finish up my card by adding a little bit of Stardust Stickles. This is one of my favorite stickle colors that I own. It's just gorgeous. The camera doesn't do it justice, I don't think. So I'm just going to add it to the clouds, the umbrella, a little bit to the puddles of rain. And then that completes our card for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you guys so much for watching my channel. I really do appreciate it. Bye-bye.